Welcome to the Roasted Snow Horror Show,
where fear and dread go head to head.
Welcome to the show, where the screams collide, where blood runs cold, and the shadows hide. Each week a fight, two films will clash. Last week's champ, will it burn to ash? The Roasted Snow Horror Show, where fear and gore will always flow. One film wins, one must go. The Roasted Snow Horror Show. Lights go down, the fight begins. Which nightmare takes the final win? You pick your side, we'll break it down. The Roasted Snow, the goriest showdown.
and here are your hosts.
Chris and Ryan.
Welcome, everyone, to the Roasted Snow Horror Show. And today we are actually recording on Easter, even though this isn't being released on Easter. So happy Bunny Day to you, dude. I'm Ryan Rosted. Everybody thinks my last name is Roasted. He's Chris Snow, Snowman, Sexual Tyrannosaurus, Viagra Pill with a face, and Easter Bunny Lover.
Of course, you know it. I hid Easter eggs this morning for the kiddos, and I get to run around. Even the 14-year-old couldn't even find all of them, so I had to help him out.
Well, there you go. Way to go. Yeah, my two kids found all the eggs like that. So I was putting them in like the car door, and so I was trying hard, and it didn't.
Kids have a sixth sense for right where those things are at.
They do. It's like my 6-year-old is like looking out the window before. He's like, I see 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, you're gonna be Black Ops one day. Let's go. But anyway,
That's
guys.
just great. Where's Waldo?
Oh yeah. But yeah, guys. Welcome in. This week, we're doing something pretty fun. Chris had the idea to talk about how each of us would bring up our top 5 most influential horror movies for us.
The movies that made us.
Yes, and my list won't be his list, and I already know I have one that's going to be controversial that people will fucking hate. So
I have one that you've probably never even heard of, but I'll explain the story behind it.
But yeah, so and that's what we'll do. We'll kind of go through the story and kind of where it hit us in our lifetime and what effect it had on us to make this list. There is a caveat to this though. If you guys have listened to the show long enough, we both have gone on record of saying what our most influential is. For Chris, it's Pet Sematary. For me, it's Scream. Do you just want to give a quick rundown on why Pet Sematary is that for you? Because these will not be on our list because they would take the top spot and it wouldn't be fair. So. Correct.
So I'll get a little bit deeper into this when I tell you what my number 5 film is. But Pet Sematary is one of those ones like you probably remember in the mid 90s. It's a Friday afternoon after school, or it's a Saturday afternoon, and you're just flipping through the TV, and Pet Sematary is on like the Sci-Fi Channel, or it's on TBS, and it's streaming, and you want so much to watch it. But my mother, still trying to protect my childhood innocence, because I was like 9 at the time, she's just like, nope, you're not watching it. You're not watching it. So whether you think it's a good film or a bad film, it's one of those ones that sticks in your mind like, hey, there must be something really bad about this movie that I can't watch it. Because remember, by this age, I'd already seen Terminator. I'd already watched, Predator and Aliens, all those movies with my dad. So if my mom's not letting me watch Pet Sematary, I'm like, there's got to be something about this. So you almost build it up in your head. Like, this has to be the scariest, most horrifying film that's ever been made. And sure enough, she was just gone one day and it happened to be on and I watched it. And I do remember being like, I am terrified and I really like this feeling.
And the reason she didn't want you to watch that is because she knew that there's a lot of history up that route.
A lot of history up that route. Yeah. the ground, it's gone sour.
Some things, sometimes dead is better.
Dead is better.
Yeah. And that is,
I'll never forget Gage's little freaking shoe tumbling down the thing, and then I think I laughed about it with my cousin a few days later.
I'll never forget about the ending of that one where it's just
and then you hear the knife go in and the screen goes black and he just screams.
Yeah.
And let's not forget about one of the most terrifying visuals of all time insert visual here, Ryan, when the sister Zelda, when she's having the flashback, and her sister Zelda like goes up to the camera and she's like, that was scary.
And then, of course,
she was wasting away from MS or something.
Oh, right. And of course, you have Achilles slices in that one, which that one, the remake. I
know those are a thing for you.
I
can't stand them too, just right through.
I know. Oh, and they showed that part in the preview for the remake, and I'm like, nope. The
remake was good too.
It wasn't really bad at all. Yeah, like, and that's a tough one to take on because I mean, there were a couple story things that they switched up there, but
and that was, I think, when they did that, because they everyone knows the story and you're expecting specific beats because they're key to what happens, and then they twisted on you at that moment that we both know. And from there on out, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Right. Which is a great feeling. And then you brought up the great feeling of being really scared, being terrified. And you either go one or two ways. You love that feeling. It's like the fuck you and I'll see you tomorrow type thing.
Lean into it, or I don't want anything to do.
Or you'd never want to give it another shot again. Which my family, for the most part, they lean more towards the I don't ever want to watch anything scary ever again. I recommended Club Dread to my sister, and she thought it was terrifying. I'm like, what the fuck?
It's literally a comedy before it's anything else.
Penelope, yeah. So and then. Which I brought up before too. Scream is mine because unlike you, I was pretty sheltered. I didn't see Alien. I didn't see Predator. I didn't see Terminator. I was Power Rangers, all that stuff.
I love the Power Rangers. Don't get me wrong.
I was in elementary school, and my buddies and I were having a sleepover, and one of my buddies snuck down and got his parents had rented Scream. Back in the day, you had to go to a store and rent a VHS tape.
You have to if you guys don't know, you have to rewind the movie after it's done,
or you get fined. And you got this big important library card, and you got to do the drop box at the end of the night, so you don't get the.
And let's be honest, the worst thing in the world is when you rent a movie and it's not rewound.
Well, because it took like 5 minutes sometimes. Like, it took forever. I believe it was rewound. I don't remember that part of it, but and I just remember that first scene. And again, it was that same feeling. It was like, and maybe it was the disembodied voice on the phone, but I was about to shit my pants. And then, of course, after that first scene ends, the phone goes off in the house because somebody had called the parents, whatever. So we all lost our mind, and then we watched the movie, and it felt like we had survived it. And from there, it just grew and grew and grew from, the sequels. And I ended up loving that. So that's why nothing will ever beat that as it comes to influential horror movies for us. So with that said, going into that, give you a little rundown for the next couple weeks here. And I haven't discussed some of this with you, but we can bump it. Obviously, Friday, we have They Will Kill You, which we have not discussed at all, but I can guarantee you I'm wearing my Savannah Banana hat for that one. That's a non-starter. It's coming on. Then next week, the new release is, I believe, I was going to talk to you about this, but I'm kind of looking at, it's called The Faces of Death. And it looks, well, it's got a found footage aspect to it.
In fact, I thought they were just re-releasing the original Faces of Death.
Right, I thought that too. And then when I was going to see They Will Kill You, there's a preview for that. I was like, what the fuck?
They're actually doing something about the original. I'm all for it.
Exactly. And then April 17th, I think we got to hit The Mummy. Lee Cron's The Mummy.
100%.
Which on that one, I saw that they were, because obviously we know the news of, Brendan Fraser, Rachel White, they're coming back for the next Mummy, and Radio Silence is doing that. But they already had this Mummy, and I'm like, really? How many goddamn mummies are we going to have? The Tom Cruise one sucked. We have this one. And I saw the first preview. I was like, and then this last one that I saw, I'm like, okay.
I thought they were adapting the original Emotep story again. I was gonna be like, I don't want to see it. And then I saw the trailer and what they're actually doing with it. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's more in name than anything else.
Right. And, it's a choice, but I'm sure it'll get. So we're going to go into that one with as open mind as possible. And I cannot wait for that one. There's another one on April 24th, but now I am spacing it. And I had it like 3 weeks down the line. I can't. God, I can't remember, but we will get to it. There's a good one coming out on the 24th. Those are our new releases. We have no idea what the fuck we're gonna do for the next one of these on Wednesdays, but that's half the fun. We thought of this. What was it? Thursday, Friday? It was.
I
like,
was
hey,
I was thinking about it in my mind. I was like, how do we make it work? And then what did I text you on Wednesday or Thursday? Like,
yeah,
I got it.
yeah. So if you guys are new here, first of all, welcome. And we each go down our list. We each give our top 5. We talk about it a little bit, go back and forth. And I don't know if we're going to yell at each other much this time because,
It's more personal. Yeah.
I know
More
I
personal,
can't get on you if you like a movie. And I don't want you to yell at me for one of mine. So,
well, one of mine is going to be so bad. You guys probably haven't even heard of it. And again, unless you grew up in the 90s and spent a lot of time flicking through channels. So we'll see.
All right. Well, why don't you get started with number 5?
So be forewarned, this is not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination. But again, when I was thinking through and I was thinking like, okay, what truly are the movies that made us? What made us want to lean into horror films? And this is another one similar to Pet Sematary. This movie was always, it was either on I can't remember if it was USA or just the Sci-Fi Channel, but it was always on. Like every time you get Dish Network and you flip through the guides, this thing was always running. I always wanted to watch it, but again, similar to Pet Sematary, it's like, no, we're not watching that stupid movie, blah, 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 blah. And guys, so I grew up with 2 older sisters and my dad was always at work, right? So I was the only boy. So the things that I wanted to watch and I wanted it, like, never happened, right? I got outweighed every single time. So never got to watch what I wanted to watch. So when I finally got a chance, everyone was gone or something, or I just had control, I finally got a chance to sit down and watch this. Again, it's not a good movie, but it's one of the ones that did shape my love. And it is a movie from about, I want to say 1993, maybe a little bit later, 1994. It is called Ticks. It's a movie that was on the Sci-Fi Channel. It has a young Seth Green. It has a young Alfonso Ribeiro. Clint Howard plays one of the characters. The basic premise is a drug dealer, a drug grower, I should say. He uses steroids, Clint Howard. He uses steroids to make his plants grow bigger. And the runoff from these steroids, he's deep in the woods. The runoff from these steroids infects these ticks, and these ticks grow. And you can imagine what a giant tick would do, right? So they grow to be about yay big. And your typical teenage group is coming up to the mountains to go camping and stay at a cabin and have a good time. They bring their dog. And of course, they are assailed by these giant ticks. And it's by no stretch of the imagination a good movie. It's the definition of a B movie, right? But it shakes me because, again, it's one of those ones that just sticks in my psyche. It's like, oh, this is supposed to be scary. And these ticks are something that I don't want to wake up and see. So that scares me. I don't want to be attacked by these ticks in the middle of the night. There's a couple of scenes in this film that's all these years later just kind of stick with me. One of them is when the group comes across the grower, Clint Howard. He turns around and he runs up to one of them and he grabs them because he's all infected. Because you guys know ticks, they burrow into your skin, they suck your blood. So you can imagine when they're this big what they would do. But Clint Howard runs up and he grabs one of them in his ugly Clint Howard way. He just screams, "I'm infested!" It's so ridiculous. So the poor dog gets killed by a tick and they come across the dog's corpse and it's just like the tick bursts out of it. It's pretty insane.
So when you were given the rundown before the title, I was trying to guess in my head what movie you were talking about, and I would have lost a lot of money because I almost wrote it down and put it up for the screen, but we wouldn't be able to see it anyway because of the background. But I thought for sure you were going to say Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
I mean, what a classic.
Yeah. Again, that one. It's not a good movie. I mean, it's again the definition of B movie, but that was one that was always on TV too, and I was like, I don't know if I should watch this, and then I ended up watching like the first half hour of it or something, and I got so traumatized by the people that were in the cotton candy, and
oh yeah.
And just how creepy the clowns looked in that. Are
you afraid of clowns? Clown in the cornfield?
I really am not. I'll go to haunted houses and there's always that room full of clowns, and I'd never get it's never been a phobia for me, but I totally get why people are scared of them.
I don't know if you remember this. I think it's got to have been about, 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. there was like these random pictures on 4chan or Reddit of like people who would dress up as clowns and they would just go out at night and just stand on the side of the road.
Or they like stand in front of doorbell cams, and
that's a good way to get shot in Western Colorado. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, that's a good place to get shot. A lot of places.
But it was a whole thing. I think people develop cloud phobias from that, but never a big thing for me. But yeah. Ticks, 1993, maybe 1995 is when it started really playing and repeat on the Sci-Fi Channel when I saw it. But not a great film, but again, just one of those that brought me into the genre, man.
I'm gonna search you for Ticks. There you go. Okay, well, this is starting off interesting. Mine is not Ticks, and it is a absolute fucking masterpiece of a film as number 5. And I'll explain later as to why it made number 5 instead of further down the list. But it's the OG Psycho. This one I had an interesting experience with, because I would go to these movies like, with my family, kids movies, whatever. And I remember seeing the poster for the remake with Vince Vaughn, and all I saw was the poster, and it was the hand in the shower, and it just said Psycho in red. And I just remember like being like, that looks absolutely mysterious and terrifying. And I remember I mentioned something. I was with my mom, and she was just like, "Oh, well, you might actually be old enough and mature enough to watch the original because, hey, it was in the olden times, whatever."
59,
so
60.
She actually let me watch that, and I believe she watched it with me, and she hates horror movies, hates them. And I just remember like the first like 5 minutes, I was like, oh, it's black and white, like this is gonna be boring, and then I couldn't take my eyes off it. It was just Anthony Perkins and as Norman Bates, and just the whole setup of the shower scene happens about halfway through the movie, and it's
kind of the first slasher thing.
It is, absolutely. And obviously, didn't know much about slasher movies, this and that. I just remember going like, wow, this must have been really scary for people back in those days, if I'm pretty scared of it right now. I think my mom even told me, she's like, yeah, people like back in the day, you could walk into a movie, they would play in a loop. That one, they did not let you come in until the next showing happened if you showed up late. So,
Alfred Hitchcock, by his own, he's like, you have to watch it from the beginning to understand what's going on. People would like throw up and leave the theater because they hadn't seen anything like that in the movies before. And it was the golden age of America. It was 1959. Everything was freaking butterflies and daisies. They weren't used to that.
Yeah. And so, and then I remember, years later watching the Vince Vaughn version, and obviously it's like a shot for shot remake, and it's ironic because you're literally remaking a classic, and it's fucking horrible. I hate it so much. It is in so color. Bad. Like, that's fine. It's in color. I think William H. Macy is the detective, if I'm not mistaken.
Viggo Mortensen, the king himself, plays Anne Heche's boyfriend.
Yep. So, and obviously, if you don't know anything about Psycho, I'm just going to give a loose storyline here. Basically, it's this woman. I believe she works at a bank. She decides that she is going to steal some money and run off, with her boyfriend. She runs into some trouble with the police. She's on the run. She comes out to this beaten down motel, the Bates Motel, and Norman Bates is the hotel manager, lives there with his mom, and basically it's a cat and mouse. I don't want to give anything away because the twist ending on this is, again, I would have loved to have experienced it. And I said like 2 weeks ago, when we're doing the worst movies, or like the most disgusting movies ever made, if I had a time machine, I'd go back to 3 dates, and it was I'd stop Raheem Moore, and I'd let him make the play in the 2012 divisional round against Baltimore. I would stop Hitler somehow, and then I would not watch a Serbian film. If I had a fourth date on that, I would go sit in the theater on opening day and watch Psycho. So that's how I felt with that. It is lower on my list just because it was pretty early on. And I just felt like more were more influential. So, I mean, I already know your take on Psycho.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't know if you guys watched the Ed Gein Monster on Netflix, Monster, the Ed Gein story, but a lot of what Ed Gein did, and we won't get too much into it because this isn't a true crime podcast, but if you guys are familiar with Ed Gein, he inspired the Norman Bates of the world and the film the Psychos and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like a lot of that stuff was kind of around the same time. So interesting take.
Mm-hmm. Number 4.
Number 4 is an app. Now, this movie is just, it's a classic. If you say you don't like this movie, it tells me everything I need to know about your cinema taste.
I don't like it. I don't know.
You're sick in the head and you're a dum-dum. But that just goes to show how awesome and amazing this movie is. To this day, it's held up. We're talking, of course, about Ghostbusters. You just can't go wrong with Ghostbusters. It's something strange in the neighborhood. Everything about this movie works. Especially when you're young. It's creepy. It's a comedy ultimately, but it's a creepy comedy. It let me know that this was the first movie that I saw that I was like, oh, things can be scary, but they can be kind of funny too, which is important. I think, being able to get a little bit of both. But Ghostbusters is it's a classic film. It's in the pantheon of great films. It's in the pantheon of great comedies. I think it's a good spooky movie too. A lot of people don't know that Dan Aykroyd is his family is super into like the occult, and his grandfather ran like an occult store, and all this stuff was passed down to him, and that's kind of where he got his love and why he wanted to write the movie. But we all know the story. We got Dan Aykroyd. You got the great Bill Murray.
Like, what a fucking cast! Like,
are you kidding me? They just knocked everything out of the park. Harold Ramis, Ernie Hudson. I mean, it's just Rick Moranis.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Hey, you guys want to play Parcheesi? I mean, Ghostbusters hits on everything. It's perfectly paced. It is hilarious. It's infinitely quotable. Yes, that's true. This man has no dick. I mean,
you'll never look at a marshmallow the same way.
You'll never look at a marshmallow the same. Oh. The movie's rated PG, and watching it today, I was like, how did they get a PG rating out of this? And then I remembered, people in the 80s weren't soft about everything. Ghostbusters is up there. Ghostbusters it's one that I loved as a kid. It's one that I still go back to now when I want to have a good laugh. It's an all-time classic, not just a good horror / comedy, but it's just an all-time classic film. So that's definitely one that pulled me in.
Are you the gatekeeper?
Are you the key master?
Yeah.
Everything about it works, man. It's a classic.
Well, so I'll piggyback on you. Obviously, I agree. I love everything Ghostbusters. And actually, my 6-year-old, because she loves the song and I've seen the Halloween costumes and whatnot. And she's like, "Could I watch that?" And I thought to myself, I was like, "Oh, probably." And then I was like, "No, probably not. You'll have nightmares." Not for the bad reason, but it's just like some of the visuals on that are really creepy. The sequel's great. Now, I haven't watched the newest reboots, so like the Afterlife and the other one, but I did watch. Yep. Go for it.
Finish.
Oh, I did see the all-female Ghostbusters, that reboot. But Chris Hemsworth is fucking hysterical in that. He's like, "Can I bring my cat?" And they're like, "Well, no, they're allergic." And he's like, allergic to cats. Well, good, because he's a dog. His name is Michael Hat. My cat.
Michael Hat. I will vouch for Ghostbusters Afterlife. Thumbs up. It's actually it's McKenna Grace's first film. She's a kid Ghostbuster. I watched the Frozen one that they did. Mm-hmm. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't necessary. Okay. Like I thought the Answer the Call, the one with the girls, I thought it was just bad. Chris Hemsworth is hilarious, but I thought it was just a bad film.
They tried to force a lot of cameos and
political crap. I'm like, I'm not interested in any of that. Stop messing with Ghostbusters. It's perfect the way it was. But Afterlife is good because it is a true sequel. It has there's 3 cameos, which you probably know what I'm talking. Which 3 I'm talking about, but that actually make it. They're not taking anything away. They're not forcing it in. They're kind of handing it over to a next generation, which works. But Ghostbusters just. I mean. Are you menstruating? What does that have to do with anything? Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
Well, and how about the Dan Aykroyd cameo in Casper? Because they're trying to get rid of the ghost.
Yeah, so good. He comes down. He's like, "Nope."
Who are you gonna call? Not us.
Not us.
Or someone else. Yeah.
Someone else. Yeah. So, who are we gonna call? Someone else.
Someone else. Beautiful. Fucking love it. Ghostbusters.
So
I got to go back and watch that. Yeah. And I would actually, my early days in Las Vegas after turning 21, like when I first started gambling, I'd always go to the Ghostbusters machine. Not because I would do well on it, but when you hit a bonus and like the bass would be going in the chair, it'd be like, dun, 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 and I'd be dancing in the seat as I'm, I had a few, but yeah.
Not gonna lie, that song may or may not be on my gym mix.
It should be on everyone's. It's great. It's my number one go-to during Halloween time. That song. So, my number 4. So it's funny because your number 5 was a shitty movie and mine was a classic. Your number 4 is a classic. My number 4 is a shitty movie. So, and this one just has a personal effect on me. And I've mentioned it a couple times on this show, a couple interviews that we've done. I've brought it up as well. So sorry if I'm repeating myself here, but it is Halloween Resurrection.
Dog shit.
Not it is dog shit. But you got Busta Rhymes going after Michael Myers. But the reason why this one sticks out is it is the first rated R movie that my brother and I snuck into. So I was so hyped up, and I was pretty new to the Halloween franchise as a whole. I'd gone over to like buddies and watched the original, and went on a binge and would watch all the other ones. Ironically, though, I saw this one before I saw Halloween H2O, which for those of you that don't know, this is, I believe, the 8th movie in the franchise, and H2O was the 7th. So I kind of skipped one there. And I just remember in a lot of ways, this movie was ahead of its time because it takes place it's this group of explorers, and they are doing a webcam show before like podcasts were a thing and this and that. So there is a lot of first person found footage aspects to it. That's why I say it was a little ahead of its time. Now, again, one of your leads is Busta Rhymes. I love the guy as an artist. Not so much as an actor in a horror movie, but like trick or treat, motherfucker.
Surprise, motherfucker. The original.
But I remember watching it. It has this cheap jump scare at the end. Michael's never dead, so he opens up his eye, and it's like this big boom in the theater. And I remember, I think it was because I felt so guilty for sneaking into this movie, but I couldn't sleep that night. Every time I would close my eyes, Michael Myers' eyes would open. And my brother and I, we talk about it all the time because he was as scared as I was. And now we look back and I'm like, why the fuck are we so scared? But I always, anytime that's on, I have to turn it on because just because of how it made me feel and how it was, it truly was influential for me. But I will use the Halloween series as a whole because it is classic. And it is one of those that has lived and died so many times. There's so many bad films in the franchise, and it's then it reimagines itself. You have the newest reboot that was Halloween, then you had Halloween Kills, and then Halloween Ends was fucking garbage. But
I don't understand how they lost the plot with that. I mean, the first Halloween and Halloween Kills were fantastic. I thought they were,
and there were some aspects of Halloween Kills that were like, but it was not a bad movie at all. No. And obviously,
Big John, Little John, Big John, Little John.
Little John.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and like Michael Myers doesn't even show up till like halfway through the movie. It's just fucking guys. Skip Halloween Ends. I can't watch Halloween Resurrection before Halloween Ends because Halloween Resurrection is supposed to be stupid. But okay, enough about that shit movie. Number 3.
So I was kind of torn here because I wanted to, of course, talk about there are 2 films that I was kind of vying for. One of them is actually my favorite horror movie of all time. The only reason it's not at the top of this list is, well, there's 2 reasons. One, I've talked about it a lot on the show. And 2, in terms of like, again, the movies that made me, as much as I love it and as much as it's in the pantheon of great films for me, it's not my number 1 that made me, right? I've already talked about that, it being Pet Sematary. So
can I guess?
Sure.
Is it The Thing?
Well, what my favorite horror movie is, so yes, yeah. It is The Thing. I was going back and forth on whether I wanted to include it on this list or not, but the fact is I can't talk about movies that made me, favorite horror films, all-time greats, without talking about The Thing. Like, I'll talk about this movie anytime, anywhere, as much as I can. This movie is so damn good. Everything about it clicks. The special effects for 1982 are insane. They're practical effects because the CGI wasn't there at the time. The practical effects work. It holds up. You can watch it today and be just as scared as you were the first time you saw it. I mean, every single story beat, it's perfectly paced. Everything about it, the acting performances, a young Kurt Russell. I mean, there's just nothing I could say about the movie that is like poor. You can't say, well, there's this one scene that just didn't work. Every bit of it works. It's scary. It's a great alien movie. That's ultimately what it is. It's an alien. But yeah, man, the Thing is just, I can't bring a top 5 list about the movies that made us without including the Thing. It's just that good, and it just means that much to me.
Well, and I would even say that even like 20 years from now, when obviously there's another remake in the works, but when people go back and watch it decades from now, I think it probably still will hold up.
And the story too, for me, is my buddy John. He had the video when the PlayStation 2 came out. It was 2001. He had the video game, The Thing. He's like, this game is creepy, man, and it's hard. And I was like, oh, tell me about it. And he's like, I ended up going over to his house, and I was like, well, we got to play this game. And we played it for a couple hours. We didn't get very far because I don't know, 2001, we were kids, you get distracted by other things. But I remember being like, yeah, right. I remember being like, wow, you have to like blood test your buddies and make sure they're not monsters. Like, this is really hard. How are you going to do it all? And that it just kind of was buried in the back of my mind. And then we had Dish Network, and we got the Stars movie package, the Stars channels. And one night at like 9:30 p.m., I saw that they were playing The Thing. So everyone was getting ready to go to bed. I was like, I think I'm going to stay up and watch this movie. And I just remember being like, oh my God, this is incredible. Oh, coolest thing I've ever seen. I mean, it's my favorite horror film of all time. It is an absolute masterclass of everything cinema, storytelling, acting, all those pieces. The Thing, 1982, John Carpenter, all-time classic.
And I agree with you there. It's and we've talked about it before. Like, how terrifying is the setting? You're in fucking the Arctic, stranded in a facility.
You can't leave because the Thing could get on there and get away with you. There's a blizzard going on,
and you have no idea who the fuck it is. Yeah. You could be it. It could be me. It might be. I don't know.
Can't trust each other. Not only are you scared of the creature, but you can't trust each other. It's like,
nope.
I don't trust what you're telling me. Like, it could be you. Just all of it works together.
It's a mind fuck in a non-mind fucky way, if that makes sense. Sweet fucking.
Encourage you guys to all watch it, man.
Oh yeah, if you haven't. Definitely, The Thing has probably been mentioned more on the show than any other movie. It's been close, maybe outside of Scream, because we did do a whole Scream week, but at least ones that we haven't actually done a full episode on. My number, what are we on? 3? Yeah, 3. My number 3. This one came into my life at a really weird time because obviously I had seen all these other horror movies. I loved horror movies, but to me at this time in my life, they'd gotten a little stale. You would have, there was like the fun ones, but nothing really like scared me. I'm like, I felt like I had seen it all. And then I saw this one and it actually truly did scare me. And it is The Strangers. I mean, the original Strangers, not the reboot.
Godspeed.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. This one, I remember I actually saw it with Mike, and just the atmosphere in it, and it made me fall in love with horror. And like, these movies can still be scary. There is still that other gear inside of me that I didn't know could get scared, and this was part of it. I was going to put it on the list, but I thought it was a little too modern to put on the list. But Sinister had that same feeling for me. So, but this one. Sinister was when I was still in love with horror movies. I wasn't falling out of love with them. So that's why Sinister did not make this list for me. It easily could have, but just watching this and just how creepy it was, how low budget it was, how just simplistic. It's just because anyone in your residence, whether it's a home, apartment, whatever, it would be terrifying to know someone is there and you can do nothing to stop it. Because it does happen. There's home invasions all the time. Just the fact that they put these masks on, and I just remember I was like, this thing's got to stick the landing. And it's just that line, why are you doing this? It's because you were home.
Because you were home.
Just terrifying. From the vinyl soundtrack on it to the limited cast, it's just It still
I'll never
holds
forget
up.
the final scene when they find Liv Tyler. You think she's probably dead, and then they go to check on her, and she just grabs her wrist. She goes, "Ah!" I'll never forget that.
There are very few movies where you just jump out of your seat. And speaking of Sinister, the lawnmower scene, that's part of it. But this is one where I literally jumped out of my seat because it starts out, the movie starts out, it's these two kids and they come across this crime scene, and then it comes back to it at the end. So you are 1,000% sure she's dead, and then she does that jump scare, and it reinvigorated my love for horror at a time where it could have died off completely. So that's why that one makes this list for me, where Sinister does not. But we've talked about it time and time again how much we love Sinister. So
it's so good.
Movies that actually scare you, that is which I'll tell you right now, my number 2 scares me, my number 1 doesn't scare me. I'll just tell it right now. But influential wise, and this one moved up the list up and down a little bit, but Strangers, absolutely fucking love it.
Do not see those of you guys listening, don't watch the rebooted Strangers. It's so bad. Like, it's so bad. Mm-hmm. I won't subject I told Ryan, we were talking about this a couple months ago, because we were talking about if we want to talk about it or not, and you have not seen the first 2 parts, chapter 1, chapter 2. I told you I have.
I saw chapter 1. I haven't seen.
You saw chapter 1. Okay, I told you that I did subject myself to the horror of chapter 2, because I was like, this has got to get better. It does not get better. They have a chapter 3, and I remember scrolling IGN when it came out, and they gave it a 2 out of 10. They're like, this is, it's so bad. So I won't even take the time to watch it, because I just want the original to stick in my mind as one of the all-time greats, and let it be that.
And in my mind, that's what it is. And they did have a sequel, Pray at Night, which I remember being like not bad. I don't remember it being great, but I have to go back and watch it, because people have said that upon subsequent rewatches that they do really like Pray at Night. It takes
my
place
theory.
in
My theory for like movies like The Strangers, right? The premise of that film is what makes it scary, right? It's like these three strange people just show up because you were home and they decided to terrorize you, right? That works. If you do that again, it's like it loses a little, in my opinion, it loses a little bit of luster. And that's hard to say, because there are a lot of movies that have that premise, right? That work. Funny Games is one of them.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. I didn't see Pray at Night. I know it's out there, but I think I skipped it at the time, because I was like, how can you improve, or how can you tell another, like, are these people, do they just go house to house? Because then I'm losing some of my fear if that's the case. I like the mystery of where they come from and why they're doing it.
The sequel does good because they try and switch up the formula. Like, people are terrorizing, these mask guys are terrorizing other people, but it is in a trailer park. So there is a little different. You don't have the huge house you can hide in. There is this pool scene where there's a chase, and that scene sticks out to me. Again, I don't remember it being bad. Obviously you can't improve on what is damn near perfection in my mind. The only bad thing I can say about it is like some of the acting in The Strangers isn't the best, but definitely check it out if you haven't. I wish you guys could go back and see it in the theater, because it's one of those where, like, you see it with your buddies and everybody jumps and then laughs for 5 minutes after because everybody jumped. And it's just,
I saw my buddy Tim in the theater right across the street from the Target that Michael and I worked at.
It's one of those that will always stick with me. I'm dying to hear your number 2. Let's go.
So, in my opinion, not only is this a horror classic, I think this is a cult classic film, because it didn't do very well when it came out. But kind of to your point with The Strangers, subsequent viewings and just where it is in the zeitgeist of horror cinema now matters a lot. And I'll be curious if I'm sure you've seen this one, because it is very popular. Event Horizon.
Long time ago.
Oh man, you got to rewatch it, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Event Horizon it's from the same Paul Anderson, the same guy who did Mortal Kombat. Event Horizon is a story. It takes place far into the future, where space travel is here, right? We're moving around in space, and Sam Neill plays a scientist whose wife died, and he is on board the Event Horizon. Or no, excuse me, he's on board Lawrence Fishburne's ship. It's not called the Event Horizon. They're going out to the Event Horizon, which was a scientific vessel that was in orbit, or it had disappeared a long time ago, and no one knew what happened. They assumed it crashed, and then all of a sudden it reappeared, and they're like, well, the Event Horizon's back. We need to go out there because we can't communicate with it. So it's literally, they're going out to, I think it's Saturn, maybe or Jupiter or something. The Event Horizon's actually orbiting. So long way from home in space. No one can hear you scream, right? So the ship, Lawrence Fishburne and his crew are taking Sam Neill, the scientist, out to the Event Horizon to find out what happened to it. Why can't they reach anyone? Why is it? Where did it go? Why is it back? Like what's happening? And they reach it, and they get on the ship, and some diabolical things have happened to the crew. What they come to find out is the Event Horizon, they were ultimately researching like warp speed and light speed, and how can you go from one end of the universe to the other end of the universe in the blink of an eye? How would you be able to do that? And the whole prospect of it was you would be able to bend to space-time, right? So time as a plane, right? The idea would be the Event Horizon would create I think it's called, what was it called? Create an event horizon or something, create some kind of scientific thing where you would bend space-time. And when doing that, right, if space-time bends like that, the ship, instead of having to cross the plane going left to right, the ship would be able to go from here to the other side, right? Bypassing all of space-time. So all that to say, they find out that that actually did work, but where the ship was in the interim is what matters the most. So they actually opened a portal to, very Doom-like. They ended up opening a portal to hell, and what happened to the crew is one of the most pretty terrifying, horrifying things. Like they walk into the crew quarters, or I think it's the med lab, and one of the crew members he's completely eviscerated. He's hung up. He's completely opened up. It's brutal, man. And Sam Neill goes a little bit crazy. The scientist, he goes a little crazy. He wants to start the Event Horizon again and get everybody back to hell. So it's Lawrence Fishburne and his crew are trying to fight against Sam Neill and get off the damn ship because they crashed into it, right, and lost function of their ship. Trying to repair their ship and get home before Sam Neill captures them all in the Event Horizon again. So all this to say, this is one of those sci-fi / horror films that really it inspired a ton of new sci-fi horror, and it also inspired a video game called Dead Space. And all the subsequent games came after that. I mean, the premise, again, it kind of goes back to Alien, right? Like you're in deep space. No one can get to you. You're completely isolated. All these horrible things are happening. That's terrifying. But having a portal to hell be opened where you're at is one of the scarier things, and all the entities and demons that are going to come at you from there is pretty terrifying. So yeah, Event Horizon sticks out in my mind. It's still worth a watch once in a while if you're browsing the tube and you're like, oh, Event Horizon's on. That's one I'm going to definitely sit and watch from beginning to end. It's so good. I need to order it in 4K so that I've got it for good. So maybe that's what I'll do as soon as we're done tonight. But Event Horizon, that's my number 2.
Does General Hux come in and hold him at the end of the string in Lightspeed? Is that
not quite? Not quite.
That's what I remember from that movie.
There's no Lightspeed skipping.
There's no Holdo maneuver, whatever the fuck that was called.
I hate it all.
That's not a movie that made you. Come on. It's horrifying.
It is horrifying. What did they do to my franchise? It's
right?
scary.
Yeah, you'll never sleep again for that. Awesome. I already know that you are going to be right on board with my next one.
It might be my number 1.
It could be your number 1. I'm interested to see. This one, it made me and probably Chris fall in love with this genre as a whole. My only regret is that I did not see this in theaters, which seems to be it's odd that a lot on my list I didn't see in theaters. But this one, if you have not seen the movie, you for sure have heard of it. You've for sure seen parodies of it. Go for it.
We're talking Blair Witch, baby.
We're talking fucking Blair Witch. That's what we're talking. And this one, I don't know if it hit you the same way that it hit me, because like you grew up in the mountains and in the woods.
The western slope of Colorado, the mountains.
Mhm.
I will say too, because I want to add on before you jump into it here.
Mhm.
Blair Witch was a cultural phenomenon. It wasn't
really
just
was.
like, hey, there's this movie great. It affected the zeitgeist. Like it had a stamp on culture that I think we still feel.
Yeah, and it's it's one because obviously there had been other found footage movies, but this really when I think of like modern, like what movies truly did set apart in the found footage genre, and it's this and Paranormal Activity. They both had same-ish marketing strategies. You're thinking the whole time, is this real? Is it not? It's one that I remember being terrified that I didn't actually want to watch because you had heard enough about it from word of mouth. That's how it got its popularity. Like you said, it was a cultural phenomenon.
People were like, did this happen or did this not happen?
It's still up there in most profitable movies ever made because it was made for fools, and it grossed however many millions, hundreds of millions. If you look at it in today's numbers, I'm sure it crosses $1 billion. Maybe it did. I didn't look up the numbers prior to this, but I just remember finally working up the courage to. I rented it, and I remember I turned off the lights in my room. I was going to watch this, and I have always been terrified of the deep woods. I'm a city guy. Chris grew up in nature. He's a mountain man. Without any of
you guys seeing this face, you wouldn't believe it, would you?
It should be flipped the way our faces look.
I can't even grow facial hair. You guys believe this? There's nothing on my chest.
Hey, knock it off, sexual Tyrannosaurus. You knock it off. But this one, it's something that I've always been afraid of, and I know a ton of people have the same fear, is being lost in the woods. When I was doing my writing for script writing, all my ideas vaguely start off with, hey, they're lost in the woods, because that was what terrified me. Anytime I'm in the woods, I think of every horror movie I've ever watched. I go camping. I watched Blair Witch the night before, which I probably should never do. But I remember watching it for the first time. And I mean, it's a really slow build. Not much happens. But I remember them talking about the myth of the witch and the guy that lived out in the woods. And yes. And I'm terrified of cabins too, that are in the middle of the woods. So when they come across the cabin near the end of the movie, my jaw was like, oh no. And fun fact about this, there is a part in the movie where they are running from their campsite because the witch is after them, and the camera pans over.
Oh my God, Kenny! Oh my God, Kenny!
Get your fat ass back here, Kenny! Like we said, it's been parodied to death. Yeah, we're out here. The teenagers like to come out here and have fun, so we're likely about to see someone get killed.
Yeah, please help me.
Yeah, you got a lot of nerve coming out here. This is my job.
I'm just trying to do my job. Get that camera out of my face.
And
God, it's so good.
It's that scene that they're parodying, that they're running through the woods. But the original plan was the camera was supposed to pan over and you see the witch there. Heather, who's running with the camera, she moves too fast so you don't see anything, and it actually works out so much better. It works out so much better that you don't see anything.
You never see the witch the entire film. You never see it.
Which is, obviously your mind can create.
That's what makes it so scary, is the film, this is, again, going back to how it affected culture, right? Like, there's always a build-up. In the climax of the film, you always see the monster, right? Like, that's horror movies 101. You actually see it, you've been building up in your mind, and then you see it, and it's supposed to be, this is scarier than anything I ever could have dreamed of. Blair Witch does this fantastic job of, they build an entire film. You never see the creature. The only thing you see are like the little dolls and like the little statues and things that they kind of find,
which are
like
creepy as fuck on their own.
Which are creepy as hell, and that's what makes it so scary. Is like your mind is taking you places, and you're imagining how terrifying this thing is, and you never even get to see it. You see, and you think you hear, and you do hear like these giggles and things, and that's why you're so scared of it. And then, dude, the last shot of the film, Are you kidding me?
Will always stick with me.
Scariest single frame in any horror movie of all. I'm telling you, scariest single frame. They get to the cabin looking for. It's dark. They're looking for the friends because they're all disappearing. She walks downstairs, and the last thing you see is she pans the camera up in the basement, and her friend is just standing against the corner facing the wall. And the only thing you think, like, at some point in the movie, they said something about the witch. The legend is you can't never look directly at the witch. You can't look directly at it. And then she goes to the basement, and he's just standing in the corner facing the wall. And then the camera cuts out.
It's just
and she screams. It is
well, and just running up and down the stairs in this cabin. There's like, you know, it's like muddy handprints on the wall. Like, it is terrifying. And the whole movie was terrifying because you're stuck in the woods. And my only beef with this movie is I forget the character's name, but the dumb fuck that kicks the map into the creek.
Yeah, he's all pissed
I'm just
off.
like, was that necessary? Like, you could have just lost the map, but like, yeah, it'll always hold up for me. And I get it. Some people can't do the found footage thing because it's too shaky and this and that.
I think it works to great effect. I thought the sequel was fantastic. Blair Witch 2016. I thought that was great. That was good and scary.
I thought you would say Blair Witch Book of Shadows because that movie sucks.
No.
They tried to take the meta approach. It sucks. Yeah, the Blair Witch 2016 is funny because it actually was marketed as a movie called The Woods, and I was already intrigued because I was like, "Oh man, I'm down for this." And of course, it does like. Yeah, exactly. And then they released a new trailer of it, and I remember it still had the woods feel, but then there's the cut where it they do the flashlight into the woods, and you see all the sculptures in the trees, and I'm like,
you're like,
this is a Blair Witch movie.
It's a Blair Witch film. I was living in Glenwood Springs at the time. I drove down to Rifle to the theater to watch that one, and I was just like, holy shit, I'm scared.
And I would have actually loved it more. And obviously they couldn't have done it for market because they wouldn't have made any money if they didn't market it as a Blair Witch movie. But if I went and saw the movie The Woods and it turned out to be a Blair Witch movie, like that, it would have been an all-timer for me. The movie could have sucked, but I'd be like, it's a secret Blair Witch movie. This is awesome. Yeah.
I will add on too, if you guys are gamers, there's an amazing game called Blair Witch that came out in like 2018, 2019. You can get it on the consoles, it's best on PC. I talked about the mortuary assistant last week. Blair Witch is just as scary. Man, is it terrifying.
Same thing. There's Blair Witch escape rooms that I won't do because I'm like, nope. I won't do it.
Too much.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
So that was my number 2. Now, this is the whole shebang. Outside of Pet Sematary, what is your number 1 most influential?
So this is going to come as no surprise to you guys. Because this movie, when you think of the pantheon of horror, you think of pantheon of what is great cinema, similar to Ghostbusters, right? This one it kind of stands head and shoulders above all the movies. It's infinitely quotable. There's 4 actors in the whole film, but I'm talking about The Shining with Jack Nicholson. You just can't, when it comes to horror, guys, you just can't do better than The Shining. The Shining is, again, I talk about the Thing being a perfect movie. The Shining is, if you had to define a perfect movie, it's The Shining. I mean, it is terrifying. I will never forget, I stayed up late to watch The Shining, similar to how I watched The Thing. I said The Shining was on Stars. I'm like, I've always heard about this film. I know it's a Stephen King thing. I got to stay up and watch it. The slow decay of Jack Nicholson's mind in that film is so damn good. Stephen King hated it. He hated the adaptation. He could not stand it. He's like, you ruined the story. This is not what it's about. But here's Johnny, like the whole, it is so much of that movie is still like mirrored and it has influenced so much. If you guys haven't seen The Shining, it's of course the story of Jack Torrance, who he's taking care of the Overlook Hotel, which is actually right here. Well, fun fact, the outside shots of the Overlook Hotel are from the Timberline Hotel in Oregon, but The Shining is based off of the Stanley Hotel, which is right up here in
Which
Evergreen.
Is why it hits harder for us, because I'm sure you've been to the Stanley. I have been to the Stanley.
It's a whole thing. Room 214 is a whole...
Mm-hmm.
So
it hits.
Yeah. A fun fact about it is Stephen King had just gotten sober, and that's where he was getting sober because he lived in Boulder. You guys might not know Stephen King lived in Boulder for a minute. That's actually where he wrote It. So Derry, Maine. There's the bridge in It that he talks about a lot was inspired by a bridge in Boulder that he used to frequent. The Stanley Hotel, the Evergreen up here at Evergreen, which is just
Estes Park.
Estes Park, excuse me. Estes Park. I said Evergreen.
You got the E right.
45 minutes, an hour here, depending on traffic.
Yeah, it's not far at all. My family and I, we've taken many day trips up there. It's a cool little town, and even if you don't go to the Stanley, I mean,
The Shining takes place right in our backyard, guys. So, but the story is Jack Torrance, Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall plays his wife. The two of them and their young son Danny, who's about 5 or 6, He's going to be the winter caretaker for the Overlook Hotel. It shuts down during the winter because it just gets snowed in. This is back when Colorado had snow. But it just gets snowed in. There's nothing going on up there, so who's going to be the caretaker for it for the winter in between the spring and summer seasons? So the isolation ultimately just kind of starts to get to him a little bit. You start to think that it's the isolation that's a removal from society. He's a writer with writer's block, so his hope is that being up there and just being away from everything will give him a chance to sit and write and get a book done. So you start to think he's just going a little stir crazy because of isolation, but you come to find out that the hotel itself is a little bit sinister. So I won't give too much away beyond that. If you haven't seen it, guys, I mean, what are you doing? Go watch The Shining. The sequel, Dr. Sleep, is also absolutely fantastic. Mike Flanagan, my favorite actor, Ewan McGregor, plays our main man, Danny Torrance. The sequel is also fantastic. But The Shining is just such a perfect film. It's so damn well done. Stanley Kubrick did the movie. The cinematography is great. The camera shots. Kubrick is known for actually getting the best performances out of his actors that he can. Kind of controversial. Shelley Duvall notoriously started getting extremely sick working on this film because she was just put through so much hell to get, like, her hair was falling out because she was getting so scared of doing it. The performances are fantastic. Nicholson is on point. Man, if he is on point on this one, it's just so good. It's scary. We have a scene from it in our opening intro song. The elevator doors opening and the blood just pouring out into the hallway. The twins standing at the end of the hallway. That was The Shining.
That always scared the shit out of me the most.
Yeah,
was the twins at the end of the hallway. Come play with
so
us,
terrifying.
Danny. Yeah, and
terrifying film.
And I'll piggyback on you with Dr. Sleep because obviously that came out 30 years later, 40 years later, like a long time. Like, and it continues the story. Obviously, it's based off a book. But I remember when I walked out of the theater, I put a Facebook post on, and obviously, I mean, I was in the moment, so maybe it isn't. There's been a lot of great horror sequels, but I said this is the best horror sequel I've ever seen, and it is. Good. It's one that because like my wife, she's not super into Stephen King. Like she had seen The Shining, but she wasn't super into it. And I was just like, look, I really like Dr. Sleep. I think you should watch it. And she was blown away. She absolutely loved it. It's one that you're like, okay, did you really need to make it? And then you're watching it and you're just like, and it does differ away from the book too. You do actually get to go back to the Overlook. Book, yeah. Yep. And it is, it's all the people you love to be afraid of.
That's exactly right. And I would say too, like the reason it's number one for me, all the things I just said, right, about how good of a film it is. But again, this is one, like I said, I stayed up late to watch it. I was like, I got to see what this is all about. And it lived up to the hype because at that time I was searching for, okay, what's the scariest movie that's for me? I got to see this thing. The Shining is obviously in the conversation. I stayed up. It lived up to the hype. It scared the piss out of me. I remember I went to bed that night and I was laying in bed. I think I was like 12, maybe 11 or 12. And I was just laying in bed like, am I going to start shining here? Am I going to connect to someone here soon? And I kept seeing the lady coming out of the bathtub like that. Because you remember how terrifying, I say it all the time, like when you're looking down a hallway or you're looking down at a distance and you see someone in the distance notice you and stare at you and start coming your way. That's the lady in the bathtub. She kind of opens the curtain and she's a beautiful woman and she steps out and then Jack kisses her and then he pulls away and she's a rotten corpse.
There's a few movies that pull that trope, and obviously The Shining is probably one of the first ones to do it, but like Ghost Ship did it. And it's actually funny. Just a couple weeks ago for March Madness, the guys over at Dead Meat, they did a bracket of the worst horror cliches, and one of them on the list was saggy boobs or old boobs. And of course, this was one of the examples. And that scene super traumatized me, maybe even more than the twins.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like, it's just, and the score in it is just so like, it's just, oh man, it's so, that sounded like Psycho, but they both have great.
Well, it
scores.
did. That's where the strings, the quick across the strings. That's standard horror.
So creepy. And The Shining almost made my list too, because I watched that way before I should have. It is absolutely terrifying, especially if you're in Colorado. And it is weird because you're at the hotel, and obviously it doesn't look like the one in the movie, because the one in the movie they make intentionally. Somebody did a video on like the floor plan on it, because like it doesn't make sense and this and that. Whereas the Stanley Hotel is
it's a nice hotel.
It's a hotel. It's a really.
It
nice
is.
hotel.
It is very. The story is very haunted, not just because of the movie, but again, that's where Stephen King was staying when he got inspiration to write The Shining.
Right, and I have not stayed in the Stanley because my wife, she loves horror movies, but she claims that she sees ghosts, and I don't really want to test that theory. So maybe one day we will. But God damn, that is a hard hitter number one, and no complaints from me. My number one, obviously I couldn't do Scream, but I would not be a horror fan today, and I probably wouldn't even be doing this podcast. This is the first movie and subsequent movies where I actually like read fan forums and like couldn't wait for the next one and this and that. I'm talking Saw. It's Saw. It can't, for me. There cannot be a movie list like this without Saw for me. And especially that first one. I've told the story before, but I have our buddy Mike. He went and saw it. He took a date to it, and I remember seeing the trailer, and like there was a creepy clown in it, and it's like, this is a really cool idea. It's two guys trapped in a bathroom, and one has to kill the other, this and that. Again, super low budget, like Blair Witch Project. I think it was based off a short film actually too. But
I think James Wan and Lee Winnell did a short film, and then they made it into the full on one.
And I remember asking Mike after, I was like, "Oh, hey man, you saw that?" And I think that night he also went to a haunted house that was full of clowns, so it was just a clown-filled night for him. I was like, "Hey man, how was it?" He goes, "It was okay. Had pretty good twists, pretty solid twist." I was like, "Okay." Rented it, was able to watch, much like I did with Blair Witch. I turned off all the lights and was watching it, and I'm on record many times of saying that the actual movie is a crap movie. Like, I think the whole movie is pretty bad until the last 5 minutes, and it totally just I will not ruin it for anyone that hasn't seen it.
I mean, if you haven't seen it and you listen to this podcast, what are you doing?
Yeah, we've ruined it 12 times over. Fuck it, I'm gonna ruin it.
I'm ruining it. Sorry, spoiler alert for a 20-year-old film. Big
spoiler alert here. So basically the premise is these two guys are chained up by their ankles in a bathroom, a very like dilapidated, disgusting, industrial like type bathroom.
I don't know why. Who would use that? Like, that's always kind of stuck out in my mind.
Yeah,
why is this bathroom the way it is? The toilet is next to the bathtub, and it's a huge room.
There's the sink on the opposite side. It is the most bizarre looking bathroom, which is probably all they could afford, really. But and they have to, there's a tape in the middle and there's a dead guy in the middle of the room. They have to get the tape. It gives them clues, basically like, Dr. Gordon, you have to kill this other guy before dawn, or else your family's going to die. I won't get into the specifics of everything else that goes on. But obviously there's, they find out that it's this guy Zepp that's doing it. It's a guy that worked at the hospital with Dr. Gordon. And I'm like, okay, like that's fine, whatever. They end up killing Zepp, and he has a tape. And this is where I thought the movie was going to end. And it's like, oh, Jigsaw's still out there somewhere. Isn't entirely untrue, but he plays the tape, and clearly Zepp has been under his control because he has to he has to kidnap the family, this and that, because he has a poison in his system that he needs the antidote for. So that's where I think it's ending. And it is a scene that will forever live in my mind.
He just gets up.
Yep. Adam has the tape and he's just like, oh no, I'm still stuck in here. Yep. And the guy that was dead in the middle of the room ain't so dead. He stands up and takes off his, makeup or whatever that made it look like he blew his brains out. The key to that chain is in the bathtub. I don't even know how to describe this because it was in the time where like I didn't have a smartphone, so I couldn't like look up the ending on YouTube and keep watching it.
This is before Wikipedia.
Yep. So I watched that ending probably 1,000 times that night and the rest of the weekend because I'm like, how could something fool someone that bad? I had no clue. It reminded me of when, another spoiler alert here, and it's not horror related, but I know Chris will like this. It was during COVID, and obviously we were gripping to anything. Like I watched Tiger King, like I was all excited about
Didn't
that.
we all?
But one of the shows that was on, and it would be a weekly viewing experience, and it was The Mandalorian. And I would watch the first season, and that was great. And then the second season came out when most of us were still in lockdown. And the season 2 finale, they had teased like maybe a Jedi will pop up, blah, 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 blah. Out comes Luke motherfucking Skywalker.
In his prime.
In his prime. He's fucking up these robot
Prime
droids. Luke. And I remember going back and rewatching that so many times. And part of it was because it was COVID, and it was just like we were desperate for something that just made us feel anything. And that really did it.
All of us, it touched it. Seeing that, I mean, I have no words. It was exactly that. I watched it. I got up early to watch the finale before I had to go to work that day. I was an essential worker at Target. But
you were essential. Come on.
I was essential. Yeah, I had to sell toilet paper to people. But I'll never everything they did about that. So they didn't reveal Luke's face until he actually got to the control room. But you knew because they're like, hold on a second. There's a ship coming. It's an X-wing. And the second it was an X-wing, I was like, oh my god.
And Grogu's ears perk up.
And then Moff Gideon is kind of staring. He doesn't look scared yet. And then you know it's Luke because you see his lightsaber. He's wearing a black cloak, and he's not even trying. He's doing the Darth Vader in the hallway from Rogue One, except it's Luke. Yeah, it's his own hallway soon. And it's the first time that we've seen, like, we saw Luke in Return of the Jedi. Obviously, he's a Jedi Knight now. This is when Luke is like, he's clearly in his element. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to work a lightsaber. And the thing that stuck out to me the most, remember, this is about 5 years after Return of the Jedi. So the Imperial remnant, like they know of Luke Skywalker, but he's a
legend. He's a myth.
He's a legend. He's like, the Jedi are back. Luke Skywalker's out there somewhere. Moff Gideon's face. Giancarlo Esposito, when he actually sees him, he sees Luke Skywalker on the monitor. The Jedi is back. He's coming his way. He's just like, he is terrified. Oh, it worked. Sorry, I just you brought that up, and I'm like, oh, we're gonna get into this now
because there's very few scenes that make you want to go back and rewatch because you're just like, I cannot believe how I felt during that.
What just happened?
And that one, that's just a more recent memory, obviously. And then, of course, God, now we're on Star Wars tangent. And on top of that, so I let the scene play out, and then they do the credits, and I'm just like, and I'm just sitting there going, I think I went to Twitter, and I was like, this is great. Little do I know, as the screen is going, boom, here comes a post-credit scene, and it's fucking Boba Fett going back to Tatooine and into Jabba's lair, and I'm like, what the fuck? So good.
This to say, final scenes that you go back and watch 100 times, similar to Saw.
Exactly. Yes, that's how it. If you came into this episode late and we're talking Star Wars, that's why. Star Wars and Jigsaw, they do correlate there. But yes, and then on top of that, they greenlit the sequel really fast. It came out a year later on Halloween, or right around Halloween. And I remember
in my school, we downloaded it in the tech lab.
You're getting arrested.
Yeah.
But so that one I actually did go and see in theaters. And I remember the hype in my mind was so big. I'm like, they're not going to fool me this time. They're not going to get me. They can't get me on this one. And I was like, Amanda's coming back. This is cool. But I'm like, it's not going to be as good as the first one. And as a movie, it is a better movie than the first one. I'm not going to say the twist is better than the first one, but it's a damn good twist. And a lot of people put it as their number one favorite Saw movie is Saw 2. And it was the same type of feeling leaving that theater. And knowing that now more were coming. And every year.
We got a franchise, baby.
Their tagline literally was, if it's Halloween, it must be Saw, because every year for about 6 years, a new Saw movie came out, and I would look at the fan forums and like spend the year trying to like dissect the trailers and figure out what's going on. So you cannot have me as a horror fan without Saw. It is, and if I did this list with Scream on it, Scream would be 1, Saw would be 2, and maybe a 1A, 1B situation. But
love it.
So, goddamn, this has been a fun conversation. I love talking these.
I want to play a game.
I want to hear from you guys. What are the most influential horror movies that you've seen? And again, it doesn't have to be a great movie. We both had not great movies on here for a couple of our spots. And that's what makes this great. And that's part of the reason why we wanted to even start doing this podcast, was to just talk about it and get to know, because we love doing the new movies too, but it's always fun to go back to these old ones and relive those feelings that it made you feel.
What they mean to us.
Exactly. This is one of the lists where obviously I could have put a few more on. If we did a top 10, there'd be a few more obviously that we've talked about, but I don't want to take any off this list ever. For me, I mean,
we can only add to it.
Yeah, exactly. I can't believe The Shining was left off mine. Sinister was left off both of ours. That was crazy. But guys, we're so happy you stick with us. We love doing this. Obviously, check us out on Friday, because all I'm going to say about this movie, dude, is
bananas in pajamas coming down the stairs.
So, we're recording this on a Sunday night. I saw this on late Friday night. And I think the only way to, like, I'm going to miss a ton of stuff when we talk about this for the next episode, because I could have watched this movie 5 minutes before we started recording, walking out of the theater, and I still probably miss a bunch of shit. So it'll be interesting to see what you took out of it, what I took out of it. But tune in to They Will Kill You on Friday. And then next week, obviously Wednesday, we don't know what we're doing, but then we're going to do The Faces of Death. Are we the Faces of Death? I have no idea. But I think it's going to be pretty goddamn gory. So we're going to have a gore fest there. But until then, guys, we will see you. Keep watching scary movies. Keep going to the theater. And we're not doing any recommendations for this one, because I figured the whole fucking episode is a goddamn recommendation. But if you have any you want to talk about, I'm down. But if you want to just get to Friday, we can get to Friday.
I think we just get to Friday, man. I think we put a pretty great list out here. We had some hard hitters. We had some more underground ones. We had some that aren't good, but you should watch anyway. But I mean, if I had to pick one out of mine that I would put over all the others, I mean, The Thing, The Shining, those are kind of hard hitters. If you guys haven't seen Event Horizon, go watch Event Horizon. I think it's on Prime.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Check that one out. I got to recheck that one out. But until then, guys, we will see you on Friday, and it's going to be fucking bananas, So later. See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Roasted Snow Horror Show. Please follow us on our social media pages and tell your friends,
Pretty please!